Peace. What's up? What's going on? YouTube. This is a video for YouTube. Alright, so coming to you today to drop a little bit of metaphysics and whatnot. But let me see if I can exit this crap. I don't know what that is, but anywho, coming from the Bible today. Uh First off, this is coming out of Nehemiah, and I'm just gonna break this verse down a little bit. This is dealing with the mind, of course, consciousness, different thought forms, spiritual, worldly, and everything in between. All right. So, what I'm going to read from is Nehemiah 13, and this is verse 4 through, let's say, verse 4 through 8 and 9. I'm going to say 9. Okay, so it says, now before this, Eliashab, the priest. Remember these names too. We got to remember these names. It's because it's a key to these names. Now therefore, now before this, Eliashab, the priest, having authority over the storerooms of the house of our God, was filled with Tobiah. And you say, what the does that mean? All right, we ain't done yet. All right, so. And he prepared for him a large room. Okay, so Eliashab is preparing for Tobiah this large room, right? All right. Where previously they had stored the grain offerings, the frankincense, the articles, the tithes, the new wine, and all the good things. All right. Okay, so in this room where they had the new wine, this was commanded to be given to the Levites, all right, and singers and gatekeepers, and the offerings for the priests, all right. But during all this, I was not in Jerusalem. This is Nehemiah speaking. He says, during all this, he was not in Jerusalem, for in the 32nd year of Artaxerxes, king of Babylon, I had returned to the king. Then after certain days, I obtained leave from the king. So he left. Went to go do something. He was with the king. After he left from being with the king, he returned. All right. He says, and I came to Jerusalem and discovered the evil that Eliashab had done for Tobiah in preparing a room for him in the courts of the house of God. All right, so I'm going to stop right there. That's verse 7. All right, so what's happening here is basically Eliashab clears out this room for Tobiah that has all these goods in it. Nehemiah comes back, he finds out about it, and he's getting ready to kick Tobiah out, right? And you say, how does this relate to me? Well, I'm going to show you how it relates to you. Okay, so Tobiah, the Hebrew definition is Jehovah is God, Jah is good. Jehovah is good, Jah is good, goodness of Jehovah. All right, but the metaphysical definition of Tobiah is an uncultivated state of consciousness, thoughts of sensuality, sin, and ignorance. This thought form, Tobiah, is a thought form. These names, these characters they represent thought forms. Okay. Tobiah is deceptive and is sometimes believed to be of true spirituality, but is not. All right. So you got to think. Tobiah, this uncultivated state of consciousness, was allowed a room, okay, in the house of God. Okay. It's starting to make sense. All right. Eliashab in Hebrew is God restores, restored of God, requited of God, of whom God restores. All right, so moving to the metaphysical definition of Eliashib, it is the thoughts in man that are of a religious and spiritual nature. They assure him of his return to his whole sinless self. Eliashib thought, Eliashib is a thought form as well. Eliashib thought signifies the assurance that the law of compensation, the law of sowing and reaping, cause and effect, is divine. Okay, so first, in the beginning, we have this Eliashib like thought. We have this spiritual, religious type frame of mind, state of consciousness. But over time, we begin to allow the Tobiah thoughts to come in and have a room in the house of God, okay, in your consciousness, in your mind. Remember, the thoughts of Tobiah are worldly, they're sinful, they are sensual, ignorant, okay? But there's hope because Nehemiah, upon his return, finds out about this evil thing that Eliashib has done. You know, he's moved from, we've moved from a spiritual state of mind to a more worldly, fleshly state of mind. So Nehemiah, let's find out what Nehemiah represents. Okay, Nehemiah is in Hebrew, the Hebrew definition that comes from this book right here. I'm gonna show you this book. Okay, first, it's coming from this book right here. This is the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary. Okay, so but it gives you the Hebrew definition, then it goes into the metaphysical definition, and it also gives you a couple of verses and whatnot, okay, to refer to. But the Hebrew definition is Jehovah consoles, Jehovah comforts, repentance of Jehovah. All right. Now, the metaphysical definition for Nehemiah is faithful, persistent. He can be known as the faithful, persistent one within us, right? That believes in divine possibility. That which inspires us to higher, better things. He also represents the boldness and courage within us to set about a rebuilding of a character weakened by sin, excuse me. So you see here that Nehemiah, when he returns, which is within us, that faithful, persistent one that believes in divine possibility, and he's the one that inspires us to higher, better things. So when he returns, he finds out about Tobiah, which is this worldly way of thinking, and immediately he kicks him out with all of his goods, all of his thought forms, all of his thought patterns, all of his ways of thinking. Tobiah is kicked out of the house of God, right? And then, you know, the spiritual higher form of thinking is restored because, again, Nehemiah represents that boldness and that courage to set about a rebuilding of character weakened by sin or Tobiah, weakened by this ignorant way of thinking or thoughts that we think, you know, their energy and our bodies, our minds, our spirits are all molded by, you know, the way that we think. So what we see here is a need to restore, you know, spiritual thought within ourselves, you know, and raise ourselves back up to a higher form or a higher, you know, uh, vibration, frequency, perception, you know, whatever it is, you know, you want to call it. But I just wanted to come and bring that message real quick, you know. I hope that this was insightful, not too long. It's not too long. It's only been 11 minutes now, but, you know, that's my video. Peace. I'll be back with more.